I don't do hard things. Mr. Soft Life. I don't like to do hard things. I like to do leisurely things, like reading books. Do Hard Things by Steve Magness. Man, I love to read about doing hard things. I also love listening to David Goggins. This particular guilty pleasure of mine has not gone unnoticed by the algorithm. Nick Saban. Jocko. I really like the sound of that. In theory, I really do. I'm an eternal optimist who is easily motivated. But to stay hard, you first must be hard. And to get hard, you must do hard things. I do not like to do hard things. I like to do somewhat difficult things. Like a really tough running workout. 400-meter intervals sandwiched by 2 separate 3-mile tempos sounds like an enjoyable burn. Like some real noble suffering. I like to do somewhat difficult things and pretend that they are hard things. Truly hard things. But first, in the words of podcaster Rich Roll, let's define our terms. A somewhat difficult thing pushes us to a limit. Not the limit, but a limit. The brain's first red flag. Sounding an alarm, yelling at us to stop. We cannot go any further. We are done. But then a coach yells something about 40%, we override the brain, we squeeze out just a little bit more, and then we collapse. Those excruciating last 37 seconds of effort are what I define as somewhat difficult, undeniably hard, but not truly hard. It is my belief truly hard things are rarer than the average person assumes. What most people consider hard things are actually just somewhat difficult things, and truly hard things to most people would be considered the hardest thing. I also had a second epiphany when talking to a friend whose mom had passed away unexpectedly. Sometimes the hardest things in life are things that happen to us, not things we choose. And as an adult with willpower, I have options, so I do not choose hard things. I choose somewhat difficult things, just a taste. Somewhat difficult things are invigorating, but a truly hard thing, only by force. Well, a few weeks ago, I did the hardest thing. I redlined the Marine Corp Marathon with overtraining syndrome. I was not simply overtrained with fatigue and tired legs. I had the medical condition, brain fog, mood swings, insomnia, depression, digestive issues, irritability, anxiety, weight loss, muscle soreness. The solution to overtraining syndrome is complete rest. No cycling, no aqua jogging, no running. Seriously. Like no running, no easy runs, no hard runs, no short runs, certainly no marathons, certainly no hard marathons, certainly not the Marine Corp Marathon. But there I was, flying to Washington, D.C., jogging a shakeout run with Joshua Hubbard and some friends, laying in bed the night before the race with sore shins, fatigue, depression, nausea. Everything was happening all at once. And I was completely broken, physically and mentally. Through the taper, I had kept optimistically anticipating I would magically be back to normal, but on this night I knew different. I was gonna struggle to run the marathon distance, let alone a sub 2 hour and 50-minute marathon, and the worst part, no matter where the time ended, racing a marathon while overtrained was going to put me in a larger deficit, meaning the reward for doing this truly hard thing was even more suffering. I don't recommend doing this. It's obviously a really stupid thing to do, but I did it. And when it hurt early on, I set my mind onto others. Because I understand that the hardest things fall on a gradient. To some, simply running 26.2 miles without stopping is the hardest thing. And to others, the hardest thing of my soft and privileged life is nothing to whine about. Running isn't just about you. I'm not going to tell you time goals are self-centered and that they don't matter. Time goals can be great motivators, but they're not everything. And what happens when your goals are off the table? How do you show up? I have run faster marathons than the Marine Corp Marathon. But I have never fought harder. do the hardest thing.